Welcome to ACT Day 2 during Cannes Lions Festival. I'm your co-host today, Thomas from Goodvertising. I'm really happy to be here back with you.
I know.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, happy to be in Day 2.
We survived so far. Even the scorching heat is not keeping us away from discussing something that is very close to my heart, which is obviously human rights and the role that advertising and agencies can play in putting a highlight on a lot of these human rights violations, especially in a time where it does seem like we have never been faced with this many abuses and violations when it comes to human rights. There are reports from Amnesty International, UN, and others that actually show that ever since 2020, it doesn't go in the right direction. So sad enough, one of these other topics underneath sustainability that doesn't seem to be going in the right direction. So quite sad, in fact.
It's horrible, and I think, our industry can do so much about it, and actually picked a couple examples to see how, the creative people can put the people right in the center and tackle issues that are hard to tackle.
And we have some amazing people here today to cover that and show some of the work from around the world. And I'm really excited about quite a few of these campaigns that I've seen over the years. We have Derek Green from TBWA RAAD from the UAE, who's going to talk about a campaign called Laws Under Attack. I'm pretty sure that quite a few of you have seen that campaign. In fact, it's a campaign that I really truly like. We have Márton Jedlicska from Publicis Groupe Hungary, who's going to talk about the corrupt square. So quite a lot of different types of things we're going to cover here. And Tobiason, Lucky Generals New York, campaign The Whole Picture, and Charley Stoney from the EACA, so the industry body. So she's going to talk a little bit about the EACA's role in driving this. But we mentioned you, Derek. Derek Green, welcome, and
thank you.
Happy you made it through the challenges that's happening right now in the UAE and made it here to Cannes. So thank you so much about that. If, for whatever reason, people have been living underneath a rock and haven't seen Laws Under Attack, could you just sort of enlighten us a little bit about what that campaign is about, and maybe also why this is such an important campaign to be talking about right now?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Laws Under Attack is for the International Committee for Red Cross. It is purely designed to remind the world leaders of their obligations that they signed the Geneva Conventions quite some time ago, and some of the basic things in the Geneva Conventions they're violating right now, which is they are attacking hospitals, schools, and ambulances and health staff. That's something that no one should be doing. It is in fact a war crime, and we wanted to make sure that to remind these world leaders that that this needs to stop.
How did you do it? What was your, how did you bring this idea to life?
Yeah, so we created a three-pronged approach for the idea. So the first one was to target hospitals and ambulances in certain regions. There are over 130 conflicts going on around the world right now, so it's mind-boggling. So we targeted hospitals and ambulances, and what we did was we put messages on the rooftops of those hospitals and ambulances to actually say, this is not a target. This ambulance is not a target. This hospital is not a target. And this school is not a target. And the messages on the rooftop is for the war drones that are coming through, which we know full well world leaders are, and other key members of military are using cameras and studying where they want to hit next. So we're using that information of their cameras looking down on the rooftops, and that was how we got that message. And we had the message that said, this is not a target. World leaders, please renew your vows to the Geneva Conventions.
And as mentioned, I think the challenge is today as well that it does seem like the sort of typical support of these international treaties are also under threat, as we see from across the world with more authoritarian regimes, etc. So it is really key. Another thing I really liked about it was, in fact, also that you can almost see these drone operators or whoever else is setting out the target, and then this message before you actually have to press execute.
Yeah, absolutely.
But more overall, I mean, in terms of what is it that and why is it so important now to use creativity to drive this type of awareness? What is the role of creativity in that?
Well, I think it's clear that just basic communication and talking, these days is not working. Yeah. There's people around the tables we're hearing every week. There's some sort of round table that's going on. It's in Switzerland, it's in here, it's there, and for some weird reason, these round tables aren't working. Yeah. So there's got to be a new way of being able to talk to world leaders. So when I talked about the three-pronged approach of this campaign, we had the rooftops, but then we targeted hospitals and ambulances that had already been bombed. And we wrote the Geneva Convention word by word, printed it, handmade it on there, and then sent that to the world leaders as well to make sure that they understood that this is something that's actually been violated, and they need to fix that. And from then on, the third piece that we did was we had the ICRC were then lobbying the world leaders as well to renew their vows to international humanitarian law, which we're really excited that's out of the 196 countries, we're now at 111 countries have signed on, which is remarkable. I mean, obviously, we're not going to stop till 196 get through, but we're on the way, so it's great.
Fantastic piece of work. Huh?
Yeah, incredible. It really, brings something that we forgot, that our leaders forgot, but not only our leaders. I think, it's also bringing this convention to the public. Yeah. Know that this is what has been signed, but you have forgotten it. Yeah. And you didn't just throw it away, like just saying here they didn't do it. You imagine in a very different way of uncovering slowly the thing. Yeah. And I think this is a really brilliant way to put the citizens in the middle and really living the campaign and living. My words are going away, but really understanding that they can do something and they can also pressure their government to
Absolutely. That's what we'd love to see, is how you extend it out to being more local and pressuring your local member. I mean, as I said, we've got 111 countries, there are nations. There's quite a few more that we need to do and to target. So.
And I guess the key thing as well is laws and regulations. Most of us are not running around and thinking about on a daily basis, but somehow you manage to get us moved by paragraphs. And I think that's the beauty of this campaign. Maybe just to close this off, are there any follow-ups that we'll be seeing to this campaign, or can you maybe talk a little bit more about the possible impact, the possible results of some of the work that's been done?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep going, so we're going to figure out new ways of doing things. As I said, we're not at 196 yet, so we've got to keep going with it. Using the global team of the ICRC to develop new things, we're definitely at it. And as I said, 130 different conflicts going on around the world. There's a lot going on, so we need to use our creativity and keep pushing and pushing to solve it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming here this morning. So I'm going to, rebound on this discussion, because this morning I had the pleasure of having Connor Tobiason from
Lucky Generals, right?
Yes, Lucky Generals New York, and they did a campaign also in covering the truth in a different way. So he couldn't come to the Palais. So let's listen to him. Hello, this is day 2. So I have Connor here.
Hello.
So Connor, the first thing I'm going to ask you is to present yourself.
Of course. I'm Connor Tobiason. I'm with Lucky Generals New York. I'm the executive creative director there.
And you did a wonderful campaign
that
you sent us, and it's a really amazing piece. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure, of course. So the whole picture actually originated with The Guardian, back in the UK. It's well known there. We brought that to the US in their first big campaign here on US soil, and it's got so much rich history to it. But what we wanted to kind of give the American people is that show them that the journalistic landscape that is going on right now is is not as free and as open as we once thought. You know, the Guardian is not owned by billionaires. It's not on the stock exchange. It's actually, there's no paywall. It's all reader funded. So the news that we put out there, it has no bias to it. It has no political pressure, which we know a lot of newsrooms are dealing with now. So it was really important for us to get that out to the American people and have them understand that the news that they are reading does have those biases in there, and the Guardian is truly the only place you can get the whole picture. And
how did you do this? How did you make them understand? What's the idea behind? Not the idea. Like how's the mechanism?
Yes. So we did an outdoor billboard in New York City, and you can put the message out there and you can say what you want, but the streets in New York City are very interesting, so you have to compete with that. So what we did is we actually used the concept of like a redaction, right, which is very common right now in American news, and we had people, passerbys, stop and actually remove the redaction. And as they removed the redaction, the whole message kind of took shape. And they were able to do it line by line and really concentrate on the message we were putting out there. So at the end, we have this full billboard that is basically what the Guardian stands for, but it's done in such a interesting way that it stops people in their tracks. So it's not just a message thrown out there, it's something they can interact with, and they can actually see come to life, which is really important.
Yeah, and probably even talk about it, like, what does it mean?
Exactly.
So
it was pretty interesting. We had local Congress people or local councilmen showing up to the scene. New York is always filled with the most interesting people you could probably imagine on the streets, and it really, this striking yellow billboard with these just big solid black pieces of tape across it really stood out and stopped people, and we had a lot of conversations just with passerbys about just free and fair press in general.
Yeah, and the act of uncovering something is really just taking the thing and seeing the message is...
I mean, just like that tactile, you want to play with it, right? You want to, like, there was a line for people to get up and do it themselves because we would redact it. And they would be waiting there wanting to do it themselves. So I think,
And you called this campaign?
The whole picture.
And why is it so important in this day and age to
get the message out there? I mean, it's so important to... I think Americans don't understand how much bias is in their daily news that they consume. And getting the message out there that there is an alternative where you can actually see every single side of the story instead of just one side, which a lot of American news organizations, they only focus on one side. So with the redaction, each line that was taken away was kind of like building the whole picture, right? It was like one little part of it, and then at the end, it was that full reveal. But it's very important for people to understand that the Guardian is there to bring the whole story and not just a little fragmented part of it.
It's so important nowadays. I mean, democracy is under pressure, so we really need to see different points of view and different way of seeing maybe the same picture.
Yeah, the free and fair press, I mean, that's very important nowadays, and I think the Guardian is at the forefront of that.
Well, thank you so much for coming here and talking with me, and bravo for this amazing campaign that really, strike everyone. Even if I saw it, even me, the first I didn't see the lettering. I just saw the images, because you have also images.
So there was one part of the campaign which was the redacted billboard, and then there was just running all month long was these 3 photos that had to do with each other, but you had to kind of look into why they had to do with each other. So it was the whole picture, and then it would be, say, the World Cup being in the U.S., it would be an Argentinian jersey, and that is an Argentinian jersey, celebrating soccer, and having, in that part of it. And then there was another one of like a young player in a different part of the world, and then someone, I think, being arrested in that same jersey. So there's so many different aspects of that one small piece of image or iconography with the jersey that it tells so much about what is going on. And that ran New York City wide. We had about 5 different headlines and different type treatments and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was really fun to see those everywhere and have people think about what is the whole picture behind all 3 of these images.
Yes, and really, bravo. You did a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you.
Merci beaucoup, and you will be in our show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I will definitely echo that. That was an interesting conversation. Wonderful little piece of work, right?
Yes, it was very interesting.
So thank you so much to Connor, and go check out the whole picture. And so just to kind of confirm that this is live, we've actually run into one of those rare live incidents where our guest is running through the very busy Cresset, but haven't made it through the crowds yet. So unfortunately, Márton from Publicis haven't arrived yet, so we'll unfortunately not be able to chat with him here today. But please do go and see the amazing work called Corrupt Square. And instead, I think we're going to turn to sort of more regulatory environment and have a chat with Charley from EACA.
Let's watch her. Hello, Charley. It's been a year since you've been in the same exact spot, right?
Yes, it is, and thank you so much for having me again. I love talking with you about Act Responsible and all the work you're doing. It's amazing. Well done.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for, being with us in everything we do, because you are right next to us in everything we do, and we do a lot of things with you. So we are also very grateful. So thank you. So now it's been a year. Last year you launched a great campaign. So can you tell us what happened since then and where it's going?
Yes, so this time last year, in this spot, I announced that we were running a competition for young people all over Europe to come up with creative ideas that would persuade European citizens to petition their local governments and make safety by design a must-have. With all the platforms, with all the video gamers, even with educational software, in order to protect our children online. And the campaign winner was EACA in Berlin, and they came up with this wonderful campaign called Childhood Redrawn. So that was announced in December, and Commissioner Michael McGrath awarded the winners at our event in Brussels in December. And now this year we see it going live. So it's like a 2-year program. For the EACA, it's called Campaign for Good. So last year it was about protection of children online, and it's a 2-year program. And then next year we'll launch another competition, and then the following year you'll see it go live.
Okay, and where do you know the countries where it went live?
Yes, so we have UK, Germany, Poland, Belgium, and Ireland very shortly, because it's going to be the topic of the big Irish breakfast to coincide with the Irish EU presidency in Brussels. So we are going to have it rolling out across Dublin during that breakfast.
You needed to get it in France too, huh?
We do need to get it in France. We're working on it.
Perfect. Do you have other programs, that you have launched recently or not recently on, more sustainability or even more, person or environment or
yes, or societal impact? Yes. So one of the things that we do is we have very, very much focused our approach with Ad Net Zero, which is the advertising's response to the climate crisis, as you know. And we focus all our efforts in the bit that we know we can influence, which is the creative brief, which is Action 5 of Ad Net Zero. And so we have a wonderful membership group called EdCom, which is nearly 50 universities all around Europe who teach students who want to work in advertising. Yay! So they're our future. And so for the last 2 years, we've issued a brief to all those students to imagine if they were talking to a creative director, a strategy director, an agency CEO, a CMO, to explain why it's so important to normalize sustainable behaviors. Not to emphasize just sustainability, because people have got into trouble before now for maybe greenwashing. This is about just exemplifying sustainable behaviors, and not just about climate change, but also about showing ethnic minorities, making sure that your cast has a mix of different types of people, making it accessible, and just creating a nice piece of work that demonstrates sustainable behavior without actually ramming it down people's throats.
And it's actually great that you are linking this to our theme of this panel today, which is Voices of Democracy. And it's exactly what we want, basically, getting the word out that we need to all work towards being able to show and to be more open to discussion, more open to differences, more open to seeing all the wrongs of what our society or politics or is doing right now. And so it's you're linking this with
well, I think what you do is celebrate wonderful campaigns that show society how to do things properly. But it doesn't have to just be for an NGO or for a cause. If you're advertising, a laptop, you can still advertise it in such a way that brings in a blended community, that brings in the nuanced, behaviors. Simply putting a keepy cup beside the laptop instead of a plastic bottle. Those sort of things. Is simply, having somebody in the office in the background in a wheelchair. Can be all sorts of different subliminal messages, because that's what our community and our industry is so good at. It's planting messaging that gets adapted by society in a smaller way than films do, for instance, or TV series, but still we have an impact.
Right. And what do you think will happen in the next, I'm not going to say 25 years because we are celebrating our 25 years this year, but maybe, how do you see, and we're just going to focus a little bit just about, maybe, societal impact. How do you see it's moving in our industry in a better way? How do you see it grow?
We were very excited about one particular thing that we are doing this year, because, as you know, the EACA also organizes and runs the EFI Europe Awards. And this year, we are launching the EFI for Democracy and Civic Action. And that's because we have worked with the inner community within the European Parliament and the European Commission, and we know that they want to celebrate democracy or the workings of democracy. So this EFI is all about brands helping the democratic process. So whether you are, a taxi company and you are putting free rides on for rural people to get to a voting station, or whether you're a technology company and you're putting up technology, voting online systems, all the things that enable a democratic voting process goes into this award. And I think it's a wonderful sign that we all want to move in the right direction.
That's wonderful, and it's our world needs it so much right now. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for being here today.
My pleasure, Sophie, as always.
Thank you so much.
that was an interesting conversation with Charley there from
EACA.
Yes, and maybe just for the audience who doesn't know EACA, what does that actually stand for? What are the work that they do there?
Why are you asking me this?
That was not fair.
That was not fair.
No, it is a European Alliance of Communication Agencies. Yes, it was just to double check. She knows it. It was just, you know. But anyways, we come to the end of this human rights segment.
Yes.
As we began with introductory wise, I mean, I think we as an industry have a massive responsibility in obviously pushing back against a lot of these human rights violations that we're seeing and holding our elected leaders accountable, but also obviously recognizing the role that the free media and journalism is playing, and there's something we covered last year,
yes,
in fact,
absolutely.
In our panel. This is not the end of it at all. This is the very beginning, and we will really want to encourage all of you to come to the Alliance Impact Hub and look at the amazing work that is being exhibited here. And this is also where you come in to the very picture, because you can vote all the way up until tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
For the work that moves you, for the work that you think delivers the biggest impact. So this is really your way of sharing what you think great looks like and the work that is really pushing the boundaries. It's really needed. So up until 6 o'clock, and then that leads us to the tributes, right?
No, wait. That leads you, that before the tributes is Open House for Good.
Open House for Good,
because
yes.
we are tomorrow opening the door of the Palais for everybody to come in, to see the campaign, to vote. It's from 2 to 4. So please meet us on the stairs. On
the red carpet.
The red carpet.
Exactly.
It's your time to climb up the red carpet. Please come. It's the only open, no badge, inclusive thing that the Palais and the Alliance are offering here. So please discover the work, discover the Palais, and discover what the Alliance Impact Hub, the amazing work the Alliance Impact Hub is doing for our industry.
So there's absolutely no excuse for you to show up. You don't need wristbands, you don't need a pass. Show up Wednesday, 2 to 4, tomorrow, 2 to 4. And I think that's what we had for you here today, live from the Palais. And hopefully all of our guests is going to show up tomorrow. So thank you so much, all of you.